Hey everybody, this is Josh with the Texas chapter of the Extra Pint Crokinole Club. Today we're going to recap our 2023 St. Patrick's Tournament, which took place on Saturday, March 18th, 2023. This tournament was St. Jacob's format, which is a doubles tournament, but you rotate partners throughout. We've run this a couple different ways. We're going to go over what we've done in the past and what we did this time. Extra Pint Voorheesville ran one of these tournaments back in the summer of 2021 when there was still, unfortunately, a bunch of COVID restrictions. It was called the Larry Longballs Tournament. It took the place of the U.S. Open, at least in theory. And we had one giant pool, essentially. Everybody played everybody. And when the round robin is over, we seeded people according to their score. Then the players from the top half got to pick their teammates from the bottom half. And they went on and we played a single elimination tournament from there. We did something similar down in Houston last year during our 2022 spring tournament, as it was called. We had two pools of 7. We played 2 round robin pools. We did the same thing. We just kind of rank ordered your score. Instead of picking players, the top 7 players pulled a disc out of a hat. The bottom 7 players pulled a disc out of a different hat. If you drew the same color, then you guys were partners. We went on and played a single elimination round. This year in our St. Patrick's tournament, we decided on doing a little bit different of a format, basically out of necessity. If we did it the way we did in 2021 at Larry's house, we had all day there. We had spent 8 hours there drinking beer and carrying on. It was an awesome tournament. We had a great time, but it's going to take forever. If we did it the way we did last year at our spring tournament, what ends up happening there is half the field is out after the first round of the single elimination, and then 75% of the field's out after the second round. It just creates a lot of spectating. This year we were able to take some inspiration from some of the other NCAA tournaments. In those tournaments, generally what happens is play a round robin, and the top so many players from each pool combine to make their own pool, a super pool, so to speak, and the top players from that pool move on, and so on until a winner is eventually declared. Ideally, in the St. Jacob's pool is a doubles tournament. You want a number of people that's divisible by 4, preferably 8. Well, we ended up with 20 people this year, so we had to get a little creative. We started the first round with 2 pools of 7 players and 1 pool of 6 players. I took the time to spread the known talent across all 3 pools as even as I could to avoid one of the pools being too stacked and not giving people a chance, and having one of the lower pools, the B pool, the C pool, end up with really good players in it and just dominating everybody. We wanted everybody in the second round to be with people of their own skill level. To come up with the actual play schedule, we use a website called jdawiseman.com. We'll leave a link in the description so you can access that tool yourself. This here is the schedule for 8 players. I used a randomizer off the internet, plugged in everyone's name, with the 8th player being a ghost, and hit enter, and it spewed out the names in a random order. The first player in the list was player A, the second B, and so on. With the preliminary rounds, I took the time to fill in everyone's name in their partner and their opponent sections. The semifinal score sheets contained letters only in these fields, as a person's letter would be determined by their score. For example, Mark was player A, I was player B, Chris became player C, and so on. In the pools of 7, everyone is going to end up playing with the ghost at least one time. So you're going to be playing by yourself, essentially. In that case, you are going to be playing all 12 discs from your seat. If you shoot, the person to your left would shoot, then you would shoot again, the person to your right would shoot, then you would shoot again, the person to your left, and so on till the round concluded. If a couple extra players showed up at the last minute and wanted to play, I could simply insert them into the ghost slot without having to redo the entire order of play. For the pool of 6 players, the scheduling tool creates something called an asymmetric tournament. Some of your games are going to be doubles format, and some of your games are going to be singles format. The important thing being that each pool has the same number of rounds being played, so each player has the opportunity to win the same number of points when we compare scores. We used NCAA timing rules. Each round was 13 minutes long. We had 2 minutes in between rounds in which to change tables. We took a 10-minute break after the 4th round, so after 1 hour. And we picked up and finished the last 3 rounds of the preliminary round. Then we took a 30-minute break for lunch. For the semifinal round, we divided the field into 3 pools based on player scores in the preliminary round. In the event that players were tied in score, 20s were used as a tiebreaker. In one case we had where the 20s were tied as well, a quick game Crokinole Survivor was played amongst the competitors to determine who would take the higher seed. The top 2 finishers in each pool and the next 2 best 3rd place finishers went into the A pool. The remaining 3rd place player, the 4th place players, and the next 2 highest scoring 5th place players went into the B pool, with the remaining 6 players being assigned to the C pool. We used an 8-6-6 distribution in the pools in the semifinal round to avoid any ghosts and keep the play as pure as possible. Timing in the semifinal round was conducted identically to the preliminary round, as we took a break after the first 4 rounds and another small one at the conclusion of the 7th. The final round would be untimed. Consolation matches would be played to 7 points, while the final was played to 9 points. The winner of each pool was paired up with the 4th place player to take on the 2nd and 3rd place player of that pool. In the 8th pool, the 5th and 8th player took on the 6th and 7th player, while in the B and C pools, the 5th and 6th players battled out in a singles match. At the conclusion of the final round, each pool winner got their own trophy. I'd like to thank Mr. Chet Bulkey of Extra Pint Voorheesville for making these awesome trophies for us, so a big shout out to him. Our winners, Mark McCleary and Chris Diven, got to drink from the club trophy, better known as 75 millimeters of freedom, a food-safe epoxy 75mm artillery shell, upon which their names will be inscribed for all eternity, and they shall have rights to drink out of it whenever they choose. Overall, the tournament took approximately 5 hours, with the break about an hour 55 minutes for each of the round robins, plus 30 minutes of lunch, plus some math at the end, and the untimed round. If I had to do it over again, I'd add another 30 seconds in between matches. 2 minutes was a little tight, having to finish up the round and maneuver around the bar, which was kind of a bit of a tight squeeze. The complete results and the statistics of the tournament can be found on our website, extrapintcrokinolleclub.com, under the Events tab, and then under the Results tab. Best viewed on a tablet or larger. I hope to see many of you up in Voorheesville for the US Open on April 29th. Coverage of that epic event will be posted sometime in mid-May. Until then, stay safe and have a good day.
Alright, now, thank everyone for coming out, especially you guys that drove all the way from the Dallas area. That was awesome. Yeah. Nice coming out. Everyone had a great time. If you guys came to the south side, put the one way to drive up and swim in the water. Yeah. Alright, first let's go with the winner of Pool C, Jimmy Stern.
Excellent, thank you.
Alright, thank you. Winner of Pool B, Rod Nicholson.
Excellent.
There you go. Thanks, brother. Coming up. Winner of Pool A, Mark Perry.